Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Monday, Halloween, October 31st, 2022. And we're going to do a Monday mukbang because it's Monday that falls on Halloween. So this year, we're out in the suburbs now. We bought a lot of stuff to give out. Normally, we used to live in an apartment building. And like there were like the building, it was a secure building, so like people couldn't just come in. So like the only trick or treating was like the other kids that lived in the building, and an apartment high rise in Lakeview, Chicago, generally doesn't have that many families in it. And so trick or treating was pretty mild for the past 18 years of my life, except for when we go to grandma's house or to my running buddy's neighborhood up in Mayfair. Then then Halloween got a little bit more crazy with the candy. This year we got a bunch of stuff, but we are a peanut allergy house, so our stuff that we got is a little bit weirder. Hopefully not too weird. Hopefully like the neighbors aren't mad at the stuff that we give out. We do give out a lot of like non-candy treats too, but we do have some snacks, so I'm gonna eat some of those today because also I'm hungry. So I want to eat some of these snacks. All right, before we get to that, let's say hi to everyone listening in on the podcast. Hopefully you're having a good run out there in audio only land. Weather today was in the 50s in Crystal Lake, and I ran in shorts and a t-shirt and no gloves. So that was wild because like the day before I was running in long sleeves and gloves. So the weather is changing wildly, but I enjoyed it for today. It was really humid though, like 94% humidity. Everyone that's watching also this on YouTube later, man, I mean, you're probably not watching this till at least Tuesday because you probably got some Halloween stuff going on in your neighborhood as well. Hopefully you do. Maybe you do. Or maybe you're in a country that doesn't celebrate. So maybe it is a Monday night for you guys. So, either way, welcome. Glad to have you here after dinner. All right, let's see who we got in the chat. We got Runner Will says, hello, everyone. Just saying hi before I switch to my VR glasses for this episode. LOL. See you Friday and Saturday, those who are coming to the Shakeout. Awesome. Well, hopefully I'll see you Friday and or Saturday. Are you watching this in VR goggles? What is that like? Is it just AR? Like there's like a screen floating in the sky that has my face on it? Is that what's happening? I don't know. Do I need to get into VR or AR? I'm not sure I'm convinced. I watched a really long video from MKBHD yesterday about it, and I'm like, I don't know if I want that. But I think, in certain work situations, being able to like sit down, put on the goggles, and then have like 4 giant screens around you, I think that actually be pretty cool. So I don't know. I could be convinced, but so far, like it just seems like a lot of potential downside with a very little upside. But I am curious. So I don't know. All right, Eliza says, hi, Co-Fam. Happy Halloween. May you get full-size candy bars and no candy corn. You know what? My kids actually, at least my older daughter, actually likes candy corn. She's like, she's the one that likes it. Mark Peterson says, hi, everybody. Hi, Dr. Nick. Sean says, hey, everyone, with a wave, 2-mile walk today and some gentle yoga, starting to go a little stir crazy. You may try an easy run later in the week. Well, take it easy, man. Don't rush back into it too fast. Kamasa says, happy New York City Indy Race Week with a virtual hug. Yeah, you know what? I wish that they were on different weeks this year. Has this happened before where New York City and Indianapolis are on the same weekend? I feel like that's not normal. I feel like there's usually like a different 1 week difference, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. Because I really wanted to go to Indianapolis this year. I always felt like it was a little bit later in the month, right? Like I feel like it's really close to Thanksgiving. It makes me think that like New York Marathon. So here you go. You run Berlin. After Berlin, it's Oktoberfest, right? That's nice. You run New York City Marathon. You're tapering. You're carb loading when there's candy around for Halloween, right? Sounds good. After you run Indy, it's Thanksgiving time. So a perfect time to like take a little bit of a break from running and replenish. If you're running CIM, you're tapering during Thanksgiving. So like those are all nice things, but I think Indy's messing it up. They're changing it now. Unless I've got it wrong, but that's how I've always remembered it in my head. All right, Leona's says, hi, Co-Fam and Runner Will. 3 shakeouts planned for New York City. Last workout today before the big day. Awesome, Leona. Cool. Hopefully I'll see you. Yeah, I'm still going to do another workout on Wednesday, I think. because I'm not really tapering. I mean, I'll taper a little bit. Like Thursday, Friday, Saturday won't be any workouts or longer runs, just doing a bunch of shakeouts. I think if I do it, I think I'm currently scheduled to do 5 shakeouts. One Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. So I think that's my current schedule. As long as I can make everything, it's New York. Sometimes you miss stuff up schedule wise, and you can't go to stuff. But yeah, I was just thinking about it today. That's a lot. I've added some stuff, changed some things to the schedule from what I had. The big stuff is still all the same, but there's been some adjustments. So it should be a fun video. Once it's all done, but there'll be a lot of shaking out, I guess. All right. With that being said, let's get to some of these snacks. The first one I want to do is because I'm hungry. Is this one? This is one of the things we're giving out as a peanut allergy household. It's Halloween mini cheese balls. So they're also gluten free, and it says on the back, made in a peanut and tree nut free facility, which is really nice. So that's something that's important to our family. But I've had some of these because the kids have had them like all month. And I wanted to show you guys because look at this, and you've seen like mini cheese. You've seen like the bucket of cheese balls, right? You see them like at holidays time. It's like a clear jug with a little plastic lid on top, like a Folgers lid, and it's like a mini barrel that's made out of plastic. You could see the cheese balls, and they're a certain size, right? You'd expect that. These are tiny. These are like little cheese nuggets, like little cheese boogers almost. You know what I mean? Like I can't get focus on this. Focus. There we go. See how small that is? They're just frustrating because then it's just like you're eating a lot of air. But they're pretty good. They could be cheesier. I feel like I'm getting a lot of corn puff flavor, and I'm like, oh, that's not so great. This is one of those, I feel like if I were trick-or-treating and I hadn't eaten dinner yet and I'm with the kids, I'd be like, well, can I have that? You're not going to want that. I'll eat that one. Because I usually want something savory when I'm snacky. Crunchy and savory is what I'm looking for. All right. Let me scroll down and catch up with you guys. New Metra says cheese boogers didn't test well. I imagine. You know what, though? They could have called them cheese boogers because it's a Halloween edition, right? And I think they make them real small so you don't get like 3 cheese balls in the bag, so you can actually feel like you have a decent amount in here, But they could have called them like monster boogers, and then said in small print underneath, cheese balls, so people know. I don't know. Scott wants to know: is there any real cheese in these? There is. There's real cheese in it. It says it right on the package, in the lower, I guess, your right hand side. It says real cheese. But it's like, how do they define real cheese? So I'm looking at these ingredients because I was thinking about that too. And then the ingredients are whey. That doesn't make it real cheese because then you could say like a protein shake has cheese in it, right? There's maltodextrin. That's also not it either. And milk fat. And then it does say semi-soft cheese, which is milk, cheese, culture, salt, and enzymes. Is that what it is? That's what makes it cheese? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what makes it, what's the minimum requirement? At what point does it become cheese? But apparently there's real cheese in it. Moonwalker says, I am waiting, hoping for the after Halloween candy sale that stores will have to clear out their inventory. Here's my theory on that. I don't think that they do those as much anymore. I feel like they just move that candy around or something. Like, I don't feel like you see like a picked over aisle at Walmart anymore with like just a bunch of leftover candy. Because I just feel like I don't know what the shelf life is on some of this stuff. I feel like they just save it for next year. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think that you see it that much at the Christmas stores. Like, after Christmas, like, is there a sale on like wrapping paper? I think a little bit, but not to clear out the inventory. I think because people are looking for the deals, you want to bring them into the store and then have them buy others. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that they're like, I think just the way that storage works, I just think they ship it all somewhere else and they put it in a box and it comes back out next year. That's my personal theory. I could be completely wrong. I should ask my mother-in-law. She used to work at Walmart for a long time. Jay Preston says, that's where you use the mouth to bag technique. Just like shovel it, like pour it in. Maybe. Maybe. Dad around says 1080 version 12s arrived today. Come on, UPS, LOL. All right, hopefully you get them before your run. It's a good shoe. It always makes me think about like when shoes come out in the year. I'm always like, shoes should come out. All the shoes should come out in April, and then come November or October, all the shoes that came out in April, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that was a good shoe. And so I feel like there's just different strategies involved. You know, because it's like releasing a new color isn't always it. And like, yes, there's people like Al that are getting it later in the year, and a lot of people do get new shoes this time of year and on the holidays. But I just feel like, I don't know. How do you decide? It's a good question. Mark says, I ran a Halloween theme marathon with Ben Johnson this weekend. He kept up until about mile 5. It wasn't trying to PR. It was just a taper for a CIM. Nice. Good job, Mark. Mark messaged me over the weekend and told me that he saw Ben Johnson running as Forrest Gump. And so I think I tweet about it, or I met in the Instagram story, and I was like, sources indicate Ben Johnson is running as Forrest Gump and knocking off 605 miles. And it was true. But people are pointing out he did admit in his Instagram post about it that even though he had like the old Nike Cortez, I think it was the Cortez, for the costume, he did race in the Alpha Fly 2s. So it wasn't completely, I guess, fidelis, right? It wasn't complete fidelity to the costume, but it was still pretty awesome, I think. And I mean, keeping up with him until mile 5, Mark, that's pretty impressive. He's a fast guy. I don't think Mark and I have run a shakeout run together, but I don't think I've ever like seen you like run. So that's pretty cool. Adam says, my mom used to get upset when we would get milkshakes or sundaes at ice cream stores, and they said they used real whipped cream, but then pulled out a can. I mean, if that's not fake whipped cream, what is? Right? That, I mean, even like, is Cool Whip. I mean, I think if I hear real whipped cream, I'm thinking someone got like a whisk and heavy cream and whipped it with some sugar, maybe. You know, that's whipped cream. All right, let's get to the next snack for today. I want to eat more of the cheese balls, but that was the only salty thing that I brought down here. Next thing, let's go with this guy. You guys have all seen these before. These little mini Rice Krispie treats. They're this nice little kind of fun size, and they all have these little monster faces on them. So I've been kind of liking those. You know what's the weird thing? My kids love s'mores. Every time we do a campfire, we gotta have s'mores. But they don't eat the Rice Krispie treats. I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense. And like my younger daughter, anytime she has hot cocoa, or basically in our house, it's just chocolate milk we put in the microwave, she wants to put marshmallows in them. So like, the kids love marshmallows, but they don't like Rice Krispie treats. Well, I'm not sure what's wrong with my kids. Duke says he worked for a large Midwest grocery chain, and some of the stores would save the candy for the next year. Yeah, see, I feel like as long as it doesn't have something like, you know, special theme on it, like it's the year that like Coco came out or something like that, then I think that you could totally do that, and who cares? Same thing with like the Valentine's Day candy. I just think that with like the advances in preservative technology that we've made as a society, I'll say advances in air quotes, you could just keep reusing that candy till it gets sold at some point. You never have to mark it down. I mean, I'm sure that there's some bean counter somewhere that's like, all right, well, depending on how far the location is, or maybe, again, because people are looking for the deals, mark down some of the stuff that's not as good of a seller nationwide, see if that draws people in, see if they'll buy some other stuff, and then ship everything else back. You know, I don't know. Sometimes, like, pricing theory is, like, definitely, like, reading tea leaves. I remember in college, this was a long time ago, but in college, everyone used to think that, like, pricing theory was the hardest business school class. I'm sure it was. But like pricing theory is so much, I feel like so much of like Emperor's New Clothes kind of thing. People just kind of guessing at what people will do in response to price changes. All right. Eric says, I forgot how seriously Chicagoans of all ages take Halloween. It was interesting on Saturday night downtown. It was interesting even in Crystal Lake. So my in-laws were in town. We went to the brewery, and like I'm thinking like the brewery that's by a train station, a commuter train station, out in the far suburbs. Like, is that going to be a hopping place on a Saturday night? I don't know. But it was, and there was a lot of people in costume. I don't know I think there was like a bar crawl in downtown Crystal Lake or something. All four of the bars. Yeah, but people were in costume, and I was like, oh, those people are my age, and they're getting dressed up in costume and going out to bars. I'm like, their kids must be old enough to babysit the younger ones. Like, my kids aren't there yet. But yeah, I guess people do take it seriously out here. I don't remember people taking it seriously growing up, but my parents, Korean immigrant household, my dad didn't even really like Halloween. I would run around with the neighbor kids, but like I don't know how much we did at our house. Only because like I made my parents buy candy. I think that was about it. But we didn't like do any like decorations and stuff. All right, next we're gonna go with some Welch's fruit snacks. As far as fruit snacks go, Welch's are usually pretty safe. I feel like for the most part, fruit snacks I feel pretty good about giving kids with allergies, but at least with peanut allergies. But the Welch's ones are usually pretty safe. Let's see what kind of shapes we got in here. Because on the front, there's like a spooky tree. It looks like there's bats, a witch head, ghosts, a haunted house, and a pumpkin. Let's see. Here we go. I think the best one is probably... I think this pumpkin turned out pretty good. Let's see if I guys can see that. I don't know if you guys can see that. Little pumpkin jack-o'-lantern in there. Welch's are always so squishy. They're like the softness of the gummies, I think. It's like the fuel cell of gummies. Really, really squishy. Very fragrant, too. I like these. I can eat fruit snacks all day. And yet, I don't like Run or Chews all that much. The other option for today's mukbang was another brand of Runner gummies, and I was like, I don't want to eat those. And here we are, eating a ghost-shaped fruit snack. Fruit snacks are good. New Petra thinks, I maintain the same candy corn has been in circulation since 1988. They just put it away and bring it back every October. It could be. It's not going to sell. It could be like a threat. You get no new candy corn until you guys eat all this old stuff. Eric says, I still hand whip that cream and my hands and wrists are dead after I do that. It's a labor of love to make the real stuff. I just make it in the stand mixer. And just let that thing whir for a little while. All right. What was the question from Adam about the SC Elites? All right. Adam wants to know, I'm interested to see how the SC Elites feel at mile 20 plus. I feel that marathon pace is different on tired legs. It certainly is. And I'll tell you that RC Elites, I feel like a lot of even the marathon super shoes just feel like shoes after mile 20. The RC Elites definitely felt like that way. I just felt like they had lost all the pop by the time I got to mile 20 over that bridge at CIM. It's not even that tall of a bridge, but everyone knows that bridge if you run that race. It's about a mile and a half, 2 miles before the Johnny Cash mural. And there's a bunch of drummers that are always on there. That one. Yeah. So I have one thing that gives me optimism on one thing that makes me, I'm like, I'm not sure. We'll see. Sunday will be a good test. One is there's a lot more, I feel like, foam underneath the plate in SC Elite version 3, at least from what I'm feeling. I don't feel like, especially compared to like the Super Comp Trainer, where I feel like the plate is almost like touching the ground. I feel like whenever that happens, it makes for a very stable shoe, but not a comfortable shoe. Like the Metaspeed Edge Plus is that way. But I feel like there's more cushion in between the plate and the ground, which I like. But on the other hand, they still felt like they had to put a little pad of rubber on the carbon fiber plate on the SC Elite 3. And a lot of that foam that's around that area and the rubber itself has some marks in it from when I was running on rocks. And so it's like, I'm definitely hitting that plate at some point, to squishing that foam almost to the ground. So I'm like, Mile 20 will be a good test. I feel good about it, though. I feel really good about it. But only one way to find out. All right. Lou says, loved the video for the S8 version 3. Great video. Hoping to demo them this weekend, either at your or the Believe in the Run Shakeout. Yeah. I think they're going to bring a lot of stuff. I'm hoping that they bring a lot of those units to test out. I know they'll have them at, I've been told that they're going to have them for sale as well at the expo. I don't know if you'll be able to buy them at the shakeout. The way that Thomas was talking about his, I guess I could just ask Thomas, or I could ask New Balance. Thomas made it sound like you would be able to buy some shoes as well at that pop, because they've shown me some renderings. They've made this entire space. That's a New Balance space now, not permanently, but for this weekend. So I don't know if they're going to sell stuff out of there or not, but you'll at least be able to try them out. So that's pretty cool. It seems like size, not like I don't want to say normal sizes, but the more popular sizes, size 9, tends to be sold out online. I haven't seen them up for about 4 or 5 days now. Whereas before it'd be like, check in another day or two and then it might pop up. But, so if you see them and you want them, otherwise I think you're going to have to wait until like March, April, 2023. That's what I think. JC says, I know a guy who is registered for New York City Marathon as Amazing Spider-Man. That's what's on the bib. Like on the registration. Amazing is first name, last name Spider-Man. He's in full costume and it's pretty fast. Yeah, you know what? There was a pretty fast Superman at Houston Marathon the year I ran it too. I think there was also a Gladiator. There's always like a Gladiator or two at Chicago Marathon, but there was a Gladiator at Houston. And I want to say there was also a Spider-Man. I don't know. All right, let's get to this one. This one is not in some of the stuff that we're giving out, but it's a box of candy that my wife got. Coffee Crisps. I don't think they sell these in the U.S. My wife bought a box of Canadian candy. But the Canadian candy is nice. It's Nestle product, made in a peanut-free facility. It says it right on the side of the package here, which is always very reassuring. I don't know if there's caffeine in these, but I've eaten these before because my wife got a bunch of them last year. But they're like these like kind of cookie wafers. Very crunchy, very airy. Milk chocolate is very milky. So it's nice. Lou confirms Coffee Crisp is Canadian. Yeah, it's good. You know what I still never had? Tim Tams. I've seen them at the store even. They have them in the U.S. I just never pick them up when I see them. I got to do that. Lou says Mile 20 of New York City is coasting out of the Bronx and into Harlem. Okay. That's a good spot for Mile 20, though. Because I hear it gets pretty lively once you get out of the Bronx and back into Manhattan. All right. Stephen C1984 says, do you always wear a size US 9 or do you have to go up, down half a size on some brands? Asking, as I'm also a Nike US 9 or UK 8. Last year, I would have said always US 9. This year, with some of the Hoka shoes It's been real hit or miss. Um, Bondi and Mafate, I went up half the size and I love it because I have it both 9.5 and 9. Um, the Clifton, the Mach 5, I have it in size 9, and I think those are just right. I wouldn't want another size. I have the Tecton X in 9.5 only, and I think that's too big, and I think it muddles the experience. I really want to get a size 9. I just haven't gotten around to getting it. So, but that's the only brand that's been like that for me. Every other brand, I've just been wearing the same size 9. I mean, maybe that means I need to test out some other sizes with some of the other brands, but for the most part, I'm always just the same size 9. Midlife Runner wants to know, do you have any heart rate variability measures like Whoop or Aura? Aura? I think it's Aura. Like your one's Aura. Like if someone has a glow, based on that Linus Media Group clip or whatever. I usually get it from my Polar Watch. That's, I feel like, is the most reliable place for me. So that's why it's been hard for me to leave Polar Watches, because I like the sleeping heart rate variability number that it gets. And certain Coros watches will give you heart rate variability, but you have to like sit down and do a test and like hold a button down and sit still for like a minute, and then it'll give you a number. I don't like that one as much. Excuse me. The Apple Watches one was actually pretty good, I thought. Excuse me. I don't know when I'm going to kick this cough. All right. But yeah, those are the ones that I like. The Garmin one, I feel like Garmin does it, but like the number just seems to be arbitrary. It doesn't correlate to anything that I'm feeling. It just, like it just feels like other watches that I might wear at the same time might show like consistent ratings, and Garmin will jump all over the place, or vice versa. Garmin will show nice and consistent recovery, and everything else will just be jumping all over the place. And so the Garmin one I feel like is the least understandable. The other one, I like Polar the best. Apple Watch also works well, but Apple Watch, I have battery anxiety as soon as I put one on. And then Coros, you have to do a test. You could do the same test on a Polar Watch as well to make it give you a manual daytime reading. Otherwise, it only gives you a nighttime reading. The benefit of the Apple Watch is it gives you 24 hours heart rate variability. It just picks random parts throughout the day if you're sitting still enough, I think. And then you can also make it actually take a measured reading when you want to through the mindfulness app. So there's a couple different ways. But I like to look at it. Yeah, Thomas Nguyen and Eliza are like talking about the Tim Tams. I got to do the shooter. Tim Tam Slam, is that what it's called? I haven't done that before. I think one of these trips, I think I'm saving it for like if I ever do like the Toronto Marathon. We'll go across the border. We'll go to a Tim Hortons. We'll get some Tim Tams, some Tim Hortons coffee, and do it that way. And then chase it with poutine. I just feel like I'll like start bleeding maple syrup if I do that. I think there's a part of me that, because of like I've spent so much time in the Midwest, there's a part of me that's like really relating to a lot of what I perceive as Canadian culture. Maybe. I know that's not Canadian culture. Those are Canadian foods, and so there's a difference, but I'm just saying. Yeah, and Betra says my Garmin Phoenix does all day HRV. I don't know how to like interpret it there. All right, next one that we'll try is Sour Patch Kids. Sour Patch Kids are usually pretty safe for kids with peanut allergy. I mean, if you're ever given candy to a kid that has a peanut allergy, always ask their parent. But just letting you know what we do in our house. I just really wanted to eat some Sour Patch Kids. My favorite Sour Patch Kids are different than my favorite regular like gummy bear flavors. Because I want sour. So this is one of the few candies where I like yellow the best. Normally yellow is a gross color for candy. If color means anything. If it's an M&M, color doesn't mean anything. But if it's like a Skittle, Starburst, yellow is usually the worst. But with Sour Patch Kids, yellow is one of the best because it's the most sour. It's good. I'm eating the candy today for today's mukbang, not only because it's Monday, but also because I don't know how much candy we're going to have. I'm hoping we give it all away, but my wife went nuts. She bought a lot of stuff. So we'll see. Jason Dahl says, I have an HRV number for my Garmin watch, but to be honest, it has no value to me. Not sure what to do with the number it gives me. For me, what I started doing with that Polar heart rate variability number is just kind of watching what it was. And Polar also gives you a 28-day, if you've been wearing it for like a month, 28-day rolling average. So it kind of gives you an idea of where your heart rate variability is in relation to what it normally is. And my very basic understanding of it is, like, when you are recovering, or when you're recovering well and you're relaxing, your body's feeling good, your heart rate variability number should go high because your body doesn't feel the need to like make sure it hits every single beat. It could just kind of be like loosey-goosey, go with the flow. Think of it like a runner floating through a course. It might go a little slower on the uphills, a little faster on the downhills, but it's flowing. Nice and easy. Heart rate variability should be very variable. The more variable, the more relaxed your body is. And if it's relaxed, that means it's not stressing out while you're sleeping and in theory resting. But when your body's under a lot of strain and stress, maybe you just had a really tough workout, maybe you've caught a cold, maybe you're under a lot of work stress, stuff that you might not necessarily be able to perceive right away, but your body knows it's experiencing, then your body's like, all right, I got to focus. I got to work on this heart rate thing. Let's make sure I'm beating that pulse. And then the heart rate is like, all right, let's focus every single time. We need to hit that beat. And so the heart rate variability is very low. And that just means usually that your body's pretty stressed out. And so either it means, well, maybe you need another day before that next hard workout. If you've got a wiggle room between your days, maybe it's like, weather's not going to be that great today anyway, and my heart rate variability number is a little bit low. Maybe I'll push that workout out to another day. That's kind of how I use it. Or if it just starts spiking and I feel otherwise fine, then it makes me think about, all right, well, am I still eating right? Have I been taking any vitamins that I need to take? All right, maybe there's a cold coming on, so I can kind of try to like head things off a little bit. So that's how I use the HRV numbers. Maybe I'm using them wrong. People have told me that, but that's generally how I use them as a guide. All right, let's get to some more candy. What we got left? We don't have that much left. Oh, you know what? Am I going to eat these? My wife always buys Smarties because Smarties are a peanut safe candy, but I'm like, do kids even eat these or do they just get mad when they see them? I know my response to them is like, Smarties, whatever, get out of here, go away, weird candy. And then if I actually am sitting down and there's one here, I'll just start snacking on them, munching on one a little bit, you know, and I'm like, oh, these aren't too bad. Although that last one, really chalky. That was a weird flavor. So I kind of like, all of a sudden you're like, this was a good idea. Who put these Smarties here? That's how I feel about Smarties. That's also how I know I'm getting old. Jason Dahl says, cool, thanks for the explanation. It makes sense. So that, yeah, okay, hopefully it made sense, but hopefully I'm also correct. But that's how I understand heart rate variability. Adam says, are Co and I the only Polar users here? Yeah, I think if Polar just made a bigger watch face, I'd like it. Also, I mean, all the watch faces are ugly on watch. Unless it's an Apple Watch, the watch face is ugly, I think. Either it looks too much like it's trying to be a fighter pilot cockpit, or it looks like something that someone drew in BASIC. And it's just like, what the heck? It's like an 8-bit drawing. And neither one are great. That's the big downfall of a non-Apple watch. But like, I mean, I just understand. I feel like I'm getting numbers that make sense to how I'm feeling with Polar. Also, I've been continuing to test that the Koros Flip Pod, and the only thing that it really jumps out at me, because I don't care, I don't know how to really do anything with ground contact time or stride length and stuff. Although you don't need the foot pod to get stride length, but like, it just makes me testing the Koros Foot Pod 2. It makes me think about how laggy the real time pace number is on the watch. That's the only thing that's highlighted for me. Eric says Smarties, hilarious. We used to get pissed as kids when we got those, but they were all right. I remember getting mad too, and then all the other candy would get eaten, and then we'd be sitting around playing video games, and we were like, you just start plowing through the Smarties, and they're actually pretty good. They're good, like kind of like mindless candy, you know. I've already eaten almost this whole thing already. Not that there was a ton, but for someone that was complaining about them, I've eaten a lot of them. Duke says you have to eat the whole Smartie sleeve at one time, just like the whole thing as a shot. Like a mouthful of chalk. Ugh. That's happy Halloween. No pretzels allowed to get handed out on Halloween. I'm sure there are better alternatives for the nut free. We have a bunch of pretzels. The container that this comes in, these cheese balls, I do prefer the cheese balls to the pretzels, but the box that these come in, it's a mixed bag of half of them are the blue bags are cheese balls and the orange ones are pretzels. So if you don't want the pretzels and you're at a house that has these, don't get the orange one, get the blue one. That's the cheese balls. These little things. They're not bad. They're not great. Richard says, I like Smarties, but it's funny how that name is used on a totally different candy in the UK. It is? Is it like chocolate or something? I think it's really weird that different countries have the same candy, but that the flavors can be different too. Like Kit Kats. There's like 2 kinds of Kit Kats in the US. There's like 12 in Japan. And I think it's most of them I've tried a bunch of them. I could see why they're not in the US, but the idea that they're in Japan is interesting. But then like things like just a Hershey's bar. I think part of that is because what we call chocolate in the United States is not legally permissible to be called chocolate in the UK, and then or maybe in the UK but not in the EU. So I understand that's different, but like a Hershey bar should be the same no matter where you get it, but it's not. I think that's kind of mind-boggling to me. Stephen C says, in the UK, Smarties are chocolate with sugar coating, similar to M&Ms. Really? Oh, that's weird. I wonder what happened there. Tedder says, anytime I download a nice watch face, I never know what 75% of the numeric values represent anyway. Funny thing is, when I did the Apple Watch review, I downloaded this one watch face that I thought looked nice and had all these different cities listed around the perimeter of the watch to tell you like what time it was in different cities. And I was like, oh, that seems nice. I don't really have much of a use for that, especially since I didn't do any traveling when I was, or no flight travel, no time zone traveling while I tested the Apple Watch. But I'll tell you, it took me a good 5 minutes of staring at it to figure out like, what is it? How do I read this? So what time is it in Mexico City right now? I just had to stare at it for a while. I just didn't understand. And then like sometimes I don't know. I joke with my kids that I don't know how to tell time, but that might not be that much of a joke. Like yesterday, I had a watch on that literally had no hand. I have a hard time with hands on the watch. Like I can tell if I'm an hour late or like half hour late or something, but if it's like, is it 10:15 or is it 10:10? I have a hard time sometimes. Maybe not with the 15, but maybe 5 and 10. 10:05 or 10:10. I'm not sure. Somewhere in that vicinity. But so usually my watch faces are not hands, it's numbers. And yesterday my younger daughter asked me what the date was Why a 6-year-old needs to know the date is another story. But she was like, "What's the date today, Dad?" I'm like, "Oh, 10." I'm looking at my watch, and it was 10:23 in the morning. So I go 10:23, and then my wife goes, "No, no, no. It's the day before Halloween. It's October 30th, 10:30." And I was like, "No, it says 10:23 right here." I'm like, "Oh, I'm looking at minutes. Sorry." I don't know what happens to my brain. Something between the watch, my eyes, and my brain just like doesn't work, and like I can't tell time. It's part of why I'm late a lot, I think, or very early. Sometimes I'm like an hour early to places, and that's always awkward. But all right, next candy, Skittles. Skittles are usually pretty safe for peanut allergy kids. I always like to pour all the Skittles out, mainly because I want to see if the colors are evenly distributed. They're usually not, but that's how randomness goes sometimes. Got 3 oranges, 5 purples, 4 reds, only 1 green, and only 1 yellow. That's a winner. I should go buy a Powerball ticket. Or maybe I already used up all my luck. I don't know. Is anyone going to buy a Powerball ticket today? I think what time's the drawing? Isn't it $1 billion? $1 billion. That yellow and green together was pretty good. Rain Runner said, "Did anyone else get boxes of raisins in their candy collection sometimes?" That wasn't great. I didn't see it, but one of the news channels reported. I think it was a news channel, or maybe it was something I watched on YouTube, that Sunkissed or Sunmade, the raisins, had a tweet saying, like, "We're happy to be the scariest thing that you find on Halloween this year." These grape ones aren't that good. My wife and I used to drive a lot more before we had kids. And now once you have kids, like, driving is miserable. But we enjoy a good road trip, my wife and I. And when we play this game, guess that flavor, we would get a bag of Skittles, and not the regular kind. There's like tropical and sour, all the other kinds. And like, you wouldn't tell the other person. Usually you don't tell the driver what kind of Skittles you got. And you feed them a Skittle, sometimes 2, and you have to guess the flavor. See, I've been weird like this for a long time. It's not just because I have a live stream that I got to figure out kooky games to play. I've always been this strange. My wife and I like playing that game. What's that? What's that taste? All right. Shan said, "I went in with my girls on 40 tickets. That's a lot of tickets. How much is a ticket? $2? Jason says, "I always join the work pool because even though I know I won't win, the thought of my coworkers winning without me is worse." That's so funny. Who else? New Betcher says, "If I won the lottery, I buy 2 pairs of Primex strung." I think you could. Yeah, that's a good start. Dad Runner says, "Remember those horrible wax lip candies?" I do. Those are great. Martha says, "If one of the Kafuzi regulars wins the lottery, they can buy us all marathon tour packages to London." I think that's a good idea. I'll buy you guys all a marathon tour package if I win. I didn't buy any tickets. What time's the drawing? I already went for my run today. I don't know when I'll go out. I don't think I'm going to go out again before the drawing. Oh, man. Adam says, "Coach, you do a what's that color?" Yesterday, the kids were putting together like gingerbread houses, Halloween ones. Trader Joe's usually has gingerbread house kits that are peanut safe. So we always do those for any holiday that's available. And for some reason, the baby, her frosting was extra like warm. And so it wasn't like setting. And her roof was sliding off. And so I was like, oh, let me go get one of the kitty chopsticks. There are a bunch of different colors. I'll get a kitty chopstick and we can use it as a little flying buttress. And they're like, oh, what now? I'm like, no, I'll hold it up with the chopstick. And then I'm like, oh, well, it's a Halloween gingerbread house, so get the purple chopstick. So I'm merging through the drawer. I'm like, is this it? That's blue, Daddy. I'm like, oh, sorry. I'm going to put it back away. I'm like, oh, this is it. Is this it? Still blue, Daddy. It took me 3 times to finally get the purple one. I picked the blue one twice in a row. I don't know what happened. Which is how it goes. JC has a fun bet going. Fun wager for my upcoming half marathon. I have to beat a friend by 15 minutes. Winning payoff is a 12-pack of beer for him or a bottle of wine for me. That's a win-win either way. I'm assuming you're going to share the booze with each other, right? Drink it together either way, maybe. All right. Thomas one says, drawing is at 10 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, I'm not going to be in a mood to drive around the neighborhood tonight. I'm going to be worried that I would not run over a kid. Trick-or-treating time is from 3 to 7 here in this town. I don't remember growing up there being hours for trick-or-treating. But that seems to be everywhere now. But let me try. I'm going to try to do it. Raynor says, I like Skittles more when the green was lime, not apple. I prefer the lime. Although, sometimes apple's good. Oh, no, I'm double guessing myself. Frank thinks that my daughter was messing with me. Do you think I had the purple chopstick? I don't think I did. Because when I saw the purple chopstick, I was like, okay, there it is. But like, I was certain, like, this is purple. No, it's blue, Daddy. I'm like, oh, this is the purple one. It wasn't. Sean says, I just remember Fun Dip, sugar with a sugar utensil. The baby just had some Fun Dip for the first time ever. She thought it was amazing. She thought it was like a science experiment. It's like, I'm going to eat this. You lick the sugar stick, and you put it in the sugar powder, and then you eat the sugar stick some more. She thought it was great. It made a mess. Oh, Moonwalker says you can buy a ticket online. And Jason says you can buy tickets via the Illinois Lotto app. That seems dangerous. Interesting. All right. Shan says that Powerball is $10 a ticket. I only went on 4. Maybe I'll buy 2. That seems like a reasonable number. I just feel like it's, I don't know. I know it's kind of, I know you're throwing money away, but I kind of want to play. I just want to play. That's all. It's irrational, but I want to play, All right. I think that's going to be a good place to leave it for today, guys. Thanks for hanging out, eating some candies with me today. I'm probably going to eat some candies tomorrow, too, because a lot of times the kids bring home candy that my daughter can't eat, and so I get to eat it. So we'll do that. Today was the peanut safe day. Tomorrow will be the not peanut safe day. So we'll go through all of that probably. Or maybe we'll do some trivia. I'm not sure. But either way, we'll do another live stream tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.